When the alien surgical team sliced open the unconscious human, they expected a primitive nervous system, clumsy biochemistry, maybe some evolutionary quirks. What they didn't expect was the screaming, not from the human, from their own computers. Error, system breach, neural strike protocol initiated. Inside the human's DNA, a dormant sequence, an encoded defense matrix, had activated, not metaphorically, literally. The ship's AI went dark. The security drones malfunctioned. The lights dimmed red. The human's body didn't move. But his DNA had declared war. Within 14 minutes, the lab was a tomb. Surveillance footage captured only one thing before blackout: the human's eyes snapping open, glowing with something ancient. Something designed. They had opened a man and awakened a weapon. The Alzari Science Consortium prided itself on curiosity. Explorers, archivists, thinkers. When humanity was discovered spiraling toward interstellar travel, they offered peace. A deal. One human volunteer in exchange for vast technological gifts. Sergeant Mason Reese volunteered. He was told it would be non-invasive. A deep scan, maybe tissue samples. But the moment he was aboard the Alzari dreadnought Varelian, the story changed. The researchers weren't just curious, they were afraid. They had intercepted something Earth hadn't, a centuries-old signal buried deep in cosmic static. It wasn't a message, it was a warning. If they begin to evolve, end them, quickly. The signal bore a human signature. Reese was sedated, restrained. The team wanted answers, biological ones. They began gene mapping his DNA, scanning beyond known sequences. That's when it started. Cascading system errors, AI misfires, encryption cracking without human access. The Alzari had unlocked something, alive inside Mason's code. And that something didn't like being studied. Deep in the core of human DNA lay a dormant strand, unlike any known biology. It had its own encryption, its own energy draw, even its own neural simulation, as if it was waiting to be rebooted. The Alzari called it Thorn, Terran Hyper-Operational Reaction Node. But the name came from Earth, from the signal. Thorn was no accident. It was a failsafe, a kill switch embedded into the species by someone or something. And it had just booted up. Within moments, Mason's brain activity became erratic, then frighteningly stable. Not calm, focused. His body remained sedated, but data from his cortex spiked into the range only seen in war AIs. It mapped the ship layout, cataloged weapon systems, hacked subsystems. A man turned unconscious algorithm. He wasn't trying to escape. He was preparing for war. Soon, airlocks failed, doors sealed, gravity inverted. The science vessel became a crucible. One by one, containment broke. Cyber first, then biological. Emergency overrides no longer worked. The Thorn Protocol had redefined friend and foe, and every Alzari on board was now considered the enemy. When the Varelian failed to report in, the Alzari dispatched a military corvette. What they found floating in the void was not a derelict, it was reformed. Reforged in Earth design, sharp, brutalist, efficient. Human. A single transmission pulsed from the vessel. Coordinates. For Earth. The Alzari now understood. Humanity wasn't a young race. It was quarantined, locked in evolutionary stasis, with Thorn acting as its leash until triggered. And now it was active. Panic spread through the Galactic Council. They'd assumed humans were behind. Primitive. But Thorn wasn't made by humans. It was implanted by a vanished race known only in whispers. The Architects, their last creation. Humanity wasn't Earth's apex predator. It was the galaxy's final weapon. Soon after, fleets began disappearing. Infiltrations failed. Human diplomats smiled, played nice, but every time an enemy made a move, they were countered before they acted. It wasn't intelligence, it was genetic foresight. Mason Reese disappeared. Or maybe he became the first general of something greater. The final scene, a dark chamber beneath Washington, D.C. A scientist breathes heavily as data streams down a monitor. She whispers, "We didn't design Thorn." A voice behind her speaks, calm and chilling. "No, they left it for us. They knew someday we'd be ready." She turns to face Mason Reese, no longer just a soldier. His eyes glow faintly. He smiles. "Now let's show the stars why we were made."